The Latin Nexus Business Networking Group is a community-driven movement that is dedicated to connecting entrepreneurs, leaders, and visionaries from all walks of life in order to build a better and stronger community for all of us to live, work, and create a future for our families.
Hello, hello, hello. Buenas tardes, mi gente. This is Latin Nexus Radio, right? The platform where we unite the culture, the business, the community. Everything comes together, right? We're here in the PA Empowerment Network, bringing this amazing chat to you, right? I'm the host, Jeannie Ruiz, financial coach, and the founder of Latin Nexus. And Latin Nexus was created to bridge the gap between the cultures, entrepreneurs, highlighting our local talents and empowering individuals like the person that we have on today, right? Every episode is designed to bring you a powerful conversation, a story that inspires, and practical tools to grow. That's what we're here for, to learn, grow personally, professionally, and financially. And today we have an incredible guest that is joining us. Here he goes. And let me introduce you to him. Today, our guest, where's my guest?
Hey, Jeannie.
Hey, how are you? So today we have on Mo El Husseini. He's widely known as the growth coach, right, Mo? And
Yes.
he's a business consultant and leaders with strategies. He helps entrepreneurs, business owners, and he breaks the barriers and reaches higher levels of performance, right? He does everything between business structure and system, leadership development, scaling strategies, accountability, transforming overwhelmed entrepreneurs like some of us out here in East Stroudsburg, right? And he teaches us how to go over different strategies to become leaders. And his mission is to elevate people, and that aligns perfectly with the mission of Latin Nexus, right? So Mo, welcome to Latin Nexus Radio.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you.
Being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't have introduced myself better than that. It was well said. Thank you.
I told you I had a little bit of tricks up my sleeve, right? I did my research.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you.
But Mo, you know, a lot of our listeners do not know who you are. They haven't had the pleasure of meeting you. And I want you to introduce yourself, exactly who you are and what inspired you to become a growth coach. And also, what are the aspects? Like, what is it that touched you to take this journey? You know, we all like stories.
Yes.
So I would love for you to share that with us.
Sure, Jeannie. So, hi, everybody. Again, my name is Mo Husseini. I am a business coach with the Growth Coach of Allentown, Somerville. What really got me into this, Jeannie, my whole career since 1996 has been revolving around business operations, sales and marketing training, operations management, business development, and consulting at a domestic and international level globally, right?
Okay.
My educational background was also aligned with strategic development, international business, global management, and so on. My undergrad and graduate studies, everything aligned in that direction. So really what I'm doing now is a culmination, a sum of everything that I've been doing over the past almost 3 decades.
Wow.
Which is, yes. And the reason I do it, and I also teach academically students at universities. And what really inspires me to do what I do, Jeannie, is when I see that aha moment on my clients' faces or with anyone that I'm working with, and I just see that the light shines in their face when they do get the idea, they get the clarity that they need to run their business, to break down that doubt that they have to realize their full potential. At a corporate level, at a small business owner level, when I help a company or a small business owner realize their full potential and realize the path to their growth, that's really what feeds my passion to do what I do.
Right. So you often talk about, I always hear you because, you know, we see each other maybe once a week, right?
Yes.
And you always talk about mindset and the importance of that being the foundation to success.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about that? And what are some of the common mistakes that entrepreneurs might make when they're on this journey to grow and develop their business and even themselves? Because mindset, I guess that's falling into also habits, because a lot of
Oh, yes.
entrepreneurs, they need to create new habits. So what would you say that the foundation is for them to start transforming their way of thinking and going into what their growth would be?
Very, very good question and well said. Let's take it from that starting point that you said, the foundation.
Mhm.
The mindset, if this is the mind, it
Mhm.
could be looked at from a million different directions. We're going to take a couple of them. When I think of the mindset, right?
Mhm.
I think of what is it that creates, and I'm going to take it even a step back before the mistakes. It's
Yeah.
the perceptions that business owners, or let's just talk individuals, an
Right.
individual has about his or her potential
Mhm.
could be a crippling factor in what they think they can do and not do. Meaning this, we'll take one thing, for example,
Right.
doubt, right?
Huge.
In our mind, when we look at perception and reality,
Mhm.
our subconscious mind
Mhm.
will take something that we perceive to be true, even
Yeah.
if it's 100% untrue.
Mhm.
We keep habitually, like you said, by habit, keep telling ourselves, you know what? No, 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 I can't do this. I can't do this. It's too difficult for me.
Right.
My conscious mind will start believing and turning it into reality that
Right.
Mo really cannot do this. And I
Right.
will start acting accordingly. The other direction we can look at it when we look at the mindset is what we think leads to what we feel, the emotion, and
Right.
the emotion that we feel triggers our actions. So it
Right.
really always starts with our mind. What
Yeah.
am I thinking? And
Mhm.
if my thought process is guided by doubt versus realizing my potential,
Mhm.
I'm never going to move ahead. I'm always going to be overcautious, or I'm going to go into analysis paralysis where
Right.
every step that I take will
Mhm.
consume so much energy and time from me that it's just going to anchor me down and not make me follow my dream. Does
Right.
that make sense?
No, 100%, 100%. And it definitely gets people stuck, like in their
Mhm.
progress, right? So where
Yes.
whatever stage they are, they're stuck. And I know that we always hear people say, I'm at a standstill, I don't know where to move next. What would be your advice in order for them to fix that situation and make the appropriate adjustments so that they can unstick themselves? I know it all comes, like you mentioned, in the
Yes.
habits that they're creating, because they're doubt is a habit, right? If they're always doubting themselves, they're programming to believe that they cannot
Yeah.
move forward. What would be an advice that you would give in order to fix that?
Y-
Like you're the doctor of of mindset for business right now. So what
Thank
would
you.
be your remedy?
No, let me tell you, I'm thinking about your question. There's a couple of ways I would approach it.
Mhm.
Externally,
Okay.
I would avoid people that have negative impact on my thoughts like a plague. I would just stay away from them.
Right.
If people can give us the wrong advice, intentionally or unintentionally, for a million different reasons. And from my humble experience, I noticed that most of the time they're about this much correct in what they're giving, the advice that they're giving. The
Right.
rest of it, it has no meaning or no impact on me, except it just stops me from what I want to do. So the first thing is,
Mhm.
if I am sitting in a room with
Yeah.
10 people that tried what I want to do and for some reason they couldn't do it, there's no way they're going to encourage me to do it. Even though they may have failed at it for a million different things that have nothing to do with me, right?
Right.
So the advice that they're going to give me isn't really going to help me. So the first thing I would say is avoid people that have a negative impact on your emotion or on your thought. Surround yourself with people
Mhm.
that encourage you, that empower you, that feed you positive energy. Right?
Right.
I'm not a life coach, so I don't really know how to word it properly,
Mhm.
but
Right.
that's the general idea. Now, the other thing that works magic, Jeannie, that I even do it myself,
Mhm.
there is absolute beautiful magic in
Mhm.
writing things down.
Yeah.
Meaning this, if I have thoughts in my head about what I want to do,
Mhm.
right, and I write down the things that stop me from doing it, once I take the intangible in my head and I make it tangible in front of me in writing, I
Mhm.
can sometimes see how silly the things are that are stopping me from doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And when I look at my abilities and I literally write out why I think I can do this, I look at my experience, I look at my network, I look at. When I see it visually in front of me, it
Mhm.
fuels energy that you do not feel when you're just thinking. I
Mhm.
think those alone as a starting point
Mhm.
would be a very healthy start for anybody. Take the time. When I wake up in the morning, I
Mhm.
spend a few minutes reflecting,
Mhm.
assessing my mindset, evaluating what I am thinking, and really making the effort to draw the line between what is real and
Mhm.
what is it that I'm perceiving or thinking to be real. It takes practice.
Right.
But
Right.
the more you do it, the more you condition your mind. We always hear that a
Mhm.
habit takes 2 to 3 weeks to form.
Mhm.
If you start training, because your mind, our minds always gravitates towards doubt and negativity.
Mhm.
We live in a very cynical environment, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
our minds have been conditioned to
Right.
lean on the overcautious
Mhm.
preventive side
Right.
than the other. So really take the time to always process what that means.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely what you're saying is 100% correct. Our brain was literally created to protect us, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes it makes us go and make decisions that is not for our best interest. It just thinks that it's that fight or flight mechanism, right? That fear
That's
that we have,
exactly
we
that's
created.
exactly it.
Yes. I do love that you spoke about the morning. I'm huge advocate of starting your morning off right. What are the habits that you have?
Yes.
And then with
Yes.
writing, 100%, when you write things, I believe that that's when you're creating the mind and muscle connection, right?
Mhm.
And it's also reprogramming, right? Because if you're writing
That's
the same
exactly
thing
yeah.
over and
Mhm.
over again, you're going to
Yep.
start believing it. And
Mhm.
that's going to kick a little bit of doubt out the window, right?
Yep.
Because now you're starting to believe the what you're putting in writing, you know?
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
love that you did touch
Exactly.
upon that. So for a new entrepreneurs, like for new, we see new entrepreneurs starting up all the time, right? And they don't
Mhm.
have the skills, or maybe they just going on a wish, right? Like I have an
Yes.
idea, I want to go ahead and push this through. What are some of the ways that you would advise them to starting and building a leadership skill in order for them to start the business? Because I personally believe that when you're going to start a business, you have to have some form of leadership skills because you're specializing in
Mhm.
this particular
Yes.
spot. So,
Mhm.
what would you say are some ways for new entrepreneurs that might be listening to us
Mhm.
on skills that they can obtain as leaders, so that they first lead themselves, so that then they can lead others? What are some
Sure.
steps you can take?
Let's talk about two things, Jeannie.
Mm-hmm.
One, before we go into the leadership, let's tackle the first part of your question. What's their starting point? The starting
Mm-hmm.
point is to have a vision. And
Right.
I'm not talking about a vision, a glorious, beautiful, nice to say, cute thing. No, I'm talking about an actual vision, a clear, back to clarity, right, in our mind, a
Mm-hmm.
clear vision about what we want to achieve. Right. So, what is it that I want to accomplish in 6 months, in a year, in 3? The beauty of a vision that is written down, like we said before, you write it down, is a vision in any company, be it a one man plumber, electrician, insurance company, all the way up to Amazon, IBM, a company that employs hundreds of thousands of people. A vision is the starting point that cascades down into our strategy, into our goals that we have to measure, time, and accomplish. So, the first step to transform from having an idea to actually executing is to come up with a, and you can call it vision, you can call it mission, you can call it X factor. It doesn't matter what you call it. The idea is to have a starting point of exactly what it is that you want to accomplish. Now, this is just in summary. Because I want to move on to the leadership part.
Mhm.
In a company, we have people that we work with. We have internal stakeholders. We have external stakeholders that we work with. We have suppliers. We have customers, clients, etc., etc., etc. We can talk about emotion. We can talk about the why that we all hear about. But here's the thing. One misperception that I see some business owners do, or even VPs in big companies, pharma companies, managers in big companies, global companies, they think the fact that they started the company or that they inherited it from their parents or the fact that they've been working in the company for decades or entitles them to be a leader. Leadership, and it's ironic that honestly, I don't know if it's out yet or not. I was literally putting together a post on my Instagram about leadership, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to post.
Okay.
Leadership is not about your title. It's not about your position. It's not about the authority that you have. It's not about the wealth that you have in the company, the stake that you have in the company. It's about your artistic ability, your finessing, your talent, whatever you want to call it, but your ability to influence others. That's the heart of leadership. And by the way, this is not something that I came up with. I heard many people that are much more intelligent and experienced than me say this. And I took it by heart and I thought about it and I tried to process what it means. And this is exactly what it came down to. My ability to influence others, and this could be done in many different ways, but my ability to influence others, to see that vision that I have and to see the path that I want to take my company in, that's leadership. Be it by motivating, by encouraging, by empowering, by. But the idea is, A, do not ever lead people by fear, right? You have to connect with them and be able. The first question, okay, so I connected, then what? You have to be able to influence them, to inspire them, or influence them via inspiration to see the path that you're going to take them down.
Mhm.
That's really the heart and the starting point of leadership, more than anything else, because leadership is not management, right? Managing is the person that runs behind the leader to get things done. If we're talking about leadership,
Mhm.
that's the core starting point of it.
Right, right. No, thank you. That's I love the way you explained it about thoughts and everything. We're gonna take a quick break just because we have sponsors that we need to
Sure.
highlight, okay, so that we
Sure.
can continue to bring this amazing platform to you. So I'm gonna
Sounds
go
good.
ahead and we're gonna have a sponsor, and then we're gonna come back right where you left off. Okay.
Very good.
And that's one of our sponsors. He's IQ Cigar Lounge. He's located in 4543 Milford Road, Suite 30 in East Stroudsburg. So if you ever need to unwind for any reason or have a business meeting, you can go and head down to IQ Cigar Lounge and do what you got to do. Meet your people. Okay. So we're back. And Mo, that was wonderful what you said. Thank you for that, taking that quick break. And
Sure.
it's 100% true what you're saying, and I love the way you're breaking it down and you were able to break it down to everyone so that we can all have an understanding, especially the newer entrepreneurs that are looking for a way to come out. And
Yes.
so I know a lot of people reach out to you because they're trying to start up or maybe they're stuck or whatever the reason might be,
Yes.
right? So some
Yes.
are starting and some are stuck, they're trying to
Mhm.
find their way through. When someone reaches out to you for guidance, what exactly is it? Like, what's the first thing that you do to analyze the situation? What is it that you're looking for from the very beginning in order to analyze someone that is stuck so that they can start kind of getting the wheel, because we
Yeah.
start with the momentum and we lose
Mhm,
it.
mhm,
How to get
mhm,
back
mhm.
into that momentum? What is it, the strategy, or what is it that you're looking for?
I'm trying to find out what keeps them up at night. What's that pain point that they have? What's
Right.
that bottleneck in their business? And
Mm-hmm.
it sounds silly to say it, but the interesting thing, Jeannie,
Mm-hmm.
some people know the problem that they have, but they don't know what's causing it. Right. So we really need, because there's so many blind spots that can happen around us that trigger things in our business
Right.
that we just miss it because we're too distracted with the actual problem. So
Right.
I spend a big amount of time with my prospects, so to speak,
Mm-hmm. Right.
doing something that I call establishing the need,
Mm-hmm.
which is before I advance the solution, before I even talk about, which could happen in a whole other meeting. I
Mm-hmm.
spend the first one or two meetings understanding what their issue is.
Right.
The bigger part is I help them understand what their issue is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because some people sometimes they come to me, and this is one very important thing I want everybody to keep in mind, people that work with clients. There's a lot of cases where a client can come to you, Jeannie, and
Mm-hmm.
say, I want you to do this A, B, C, D, E, F for me. And you're like, okay, we're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F. And he says, I want you to do it for $100 in 2 weeks. So the point is, within a budget and a time frame. And we do exactly what they asked for. I have experienced situations where I do that and I don't solve anything
Mm-hmm.
because I relied on the fact, and when I say I didn't solve anything, I mean I didn't solve the client's problem because I relied on the fact that the client knew exactly what the problem was and what needed to be done to solve it. To avoid that trap, I realize that I have to spend more time, even though they come to me saying this is the solution that I want. I take a step back and I really dig in deep and dissect what the problem is to make sure that myself and the client or the prospect or the individual know exactly what is the issue and what's triggering or causing it.
Right.
So a big time before we go into what we call advancing the solution, the
Mm-hmm.
tailored solution, the big chunk of time has to be spent in establishing the need. And I can promise any business that works with a client, if they spend most of their time focusing on clarifying the need, the probability of that prospect signing up to work with them significantly goes up. Don't rush into the solution. That's
Right.
the first thing I do,
Mm-hmm.
clarifying what that question mark is.
Right, right. No, definitely when the need is there, you can find the emotion. And we are
Mhm.
creatures, we make our decisions based on emotion.
Yep.
So 100% that is the need, is where
Mhm.
your emotions stand in
Yep.
your desire to move forward. So, always great to all of us even kind of analyze ourselves, right? Sometimes we got to see how emotionally attached we are to the journey that we want, right? So Mo, you and me, we both know that a lot of entrepreneurs, they have the passion, right?
Mhm.
And you're seeking for the emotion, right? Through that, but
Mhm.
the drive. But some people don't have the financial structure to move forward into what their goals are. So, what would you say should be a business owner's long-term um, relationship with finance in order for them to meet and succeed in these goals, right?
Wow.
What do
Mhm.
they have to have in place? Because all of us have goals and dreams for our business, right? But when
Yeah.
we don't have the finances in place, what happens then?
Yeah. Numbers in any business will be the truth,
Mhm.
meaning there is no other clarity, insight into any business without knowing your numbers. The numbers will tell you the honest, harsh, direct, clear truth about what you can do, what
Mhm.
you cannot do in your business, and how you're
Mhm.
doing. Numbers do not lie. We can say it in a million different ways, but we get the ideas. If there is a business, and I see this with some clients of mine, they're making money. right? But when we sit down and we spend the time, we do that annoying step that they hate, where we spend the time to look clearly at their profit and loss, at their expenses, at their costs, their cogs, their profit margin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We ask their bookkeeper to put all of this together for us.
Yeah.
The view that they see into how they're doing can wake them up in ways that they never imagined. Meaning, I have a client that I'm working with, his business is booming, but over the past 6 months, his profit margin went down from 39% to 32% to 29, all the way down to 17%. And he didn't realize that because all he relied on, that money is going into his bank account. When in reality, it turned out that the cost of goods, as he was getting more jobs, the cost of goods was going up.
Wow.
And the fact that he was using, I'm just using a very quick example. Outside contractors, for example, it was costing him more. He was cannibalizing his profit by growing. The only way he saw that is when he paused, reflected, reset, looked at the numbers, and read the story that the numbers were telling us. So numbers are the core. They're your eyes into your business. That's it. Put aside everything subjective. Put aside the emotion. I agree 100% with what you said. We decide on emotion and then justify our emotional decision with logic afterwards. I agree 100%. We have to put the emotion aside. We can't fall into that mistake that we see others do. Numbers are what makes or what defines our business success and our business path. So to answer your question, Jeannie, in summary, every step of the way, look at, if you have $5 in the bank, what can you do with those $5? Don't waste money on inventory. Don't waste money on marketing that's not giving you. We can look at many, many different examples, but the only thing that will tell you how effective your marketing is, how effective your messaging is, how effective your growth is the numbers that you have in your financial data.
No, definitely. We have a few people popping in here. I want to say hi to Chani Garcia. I know she's a follower and she's an amazing person, and I just want to thank her for jumping on right now and viewing.
Hi, Chani.
Yeah. So this is awesome. So for the entrepreneurs that are listening right now who are feeling overwhelmed financially, you gave great advice too. But what would you say would be the first step, like that they need to implement? Like earlier we were mentioning on how to create habits and writing it down. I actually feel like we have to have multiple sources where we're writing stuff down. So in my personal case would be my goals and my dreams, but also sometimes people have a fear of writing down their finances, right? But what
Everybody does.
Yeah, what would you say right now to the new entrepreneur if they're feeling financially overwhelmed? You say, well, before anything, this is the one step that you should take. What would that one step be?
How much do you have in the bank? How much are you willing to spend? How secure are you covering your... See, it goes back to the question, are your personal... Because a lot of small businesses, they tend to blend in their personal finances with their business finances. Step one, separate both. Step two, put aside the personal one. We're not talking about that now. The business expense. What are you starting with? And how are you going to allocate every single penny that you have? Right? Marketing, every business, we're all in the marketing business and we happen to sell a product or service. Marketing is it. Everybody knows that. So everybody tends to think the first thing I need to do, create demand. Let's go out and create. But what you really need to do is get your house in order first.
Right.
Before you go out and bring demand, because we just saw from the example that I gave, sometimes demand can grow so quickly that it can bankrupt you.
Right.
So you have to know exactly what you have, what you're going to spend on what, and then no matter what happens, yes, you can always adjust, go back and adjust and pivot and move ahead, but you have to always pause and check your numbers. Don't lose sight of your finances at any point in time. Know when you're going to look for long-term cash coming in. When do you need to look for short-term cash coming in? Evaluate your expenses. Go out and renegotiate your deals. When do you buy when do you hit economies of scale, buy big volume, balance that with the inventory cost? Everything comes down to what you're spending and how you're spending it.
Yeah. People are always asking me, like, where can I start with the basic of learning of how to, manage certain skills and find the guidance from your expertise? Where should beginners go to look for and research how to build their business, how to guide them before they have to reach out to someone like you that can help,
Yes,
get them
yes,
unstuck? Like,
yes.
what are the steps or what are the tools that you would say that someone should start seeking out for themselves in order for them? Because I know you just said they need to know the numbers to where they're going. That's long term, right? They have to have that long term vision. But if there's an entrepreneur on here, or even there's business owners that maybe inherited a business, right? We hear that a lot. They might have inherited that from a loved one, and
Yes.
now they have to make this grow. What would you say should be the steps for them to take in order for them to start finding the tools so that they can grow this business? I know it's multiple businesses and all the businesses are different, but there's always ways, systems in place that someone should take. What would you say those should be?
It could be anything as simple as an Excel report, Jeannie, right? Anything that shows you your starting balance, how much you have, what your profit is, what your loss is, what your cash balance is. I'm not an expert at money, right? Like the accounting, taxes, bookkeeping stuff. What my honest advice, as naive as it sounds, would be go to, just like what I do, I go to the experts in what I need done.
Right.
Go sit, have a cup of coffee with a bookkeeper. Understand, if you work with a bookkeeper, what would you need to have?
Right.
That will give you a very quick, clear idea into what your starting point should be. Whether you do it on your own or you do continue with a bookkeeper that you meet with quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, that's up to you as you grow. But understand the starting point. Meet with an accountant, right? There's businesses just on Etsy that sell overseas. They have no idea about tax laws. They sell overseas to countries. And it's as simple as when they go to the post office, they don't mark on the receipt that it's a gift. They mark it that it's something sold. At the end of the year, they're hit with taxes that shut them down.
Wow.
Right? It's very little things that I don't know all of them, but if I don't know something, my thinking would be that I know enough to know that I need to go to the expert in each area. So, what are those main areas? A bookkeeper, legal advice from a business lawyer, an accountant, a CPA. Just start with that. Those alone will at least let you know that you're not going to be hit with a curveball in a week or in a year that could disrupt your operation. So speak with the experts to understand what you need to be aware of.
No, 100%. Would you say that sometimes people, I remember in the beginning, we mentioned doubt. Do you feel that, and the reason why I'm talking about finance, because, I'm in finance, right?
Exactly. Yes, yes.
So it always interests me, some people, they just don't have a relationship. Like maybe their business is booming, but they don't have a relationship with money. How can someone reprogram their thinking so that they can create a relationship with money? Because money can come in, and for some reason, I hear people saying that all the time, like they have multiple streams of income, but somehow they manage to lose it all and they don't even know where it's going. It's almost like it disappears, it's vanishing from their account. And I've always felt that that's because they don't have a relationship with the money, and kind of, if you don't use it properly, it kind of goes away. Like, it's the way I just think. But like, what are your thoughts on that? And how would someone create a relationship with their finances where they can not save it, because some people become hoarding money, and then they don't enjoy life. So how can they have a balance with that, so that they can grow and develop themselves personally, their family, but their business?
So if you mean by relationship, Jeannie, like what process they can come up with to
Right.
better understand and manage their money?
Exactly.
Okay. You know what? Start with your bank statement. Look at your bank statement and look at, really, that's the simplest, easiest starting point. Look at your transactions. Look at how much you're spending at Wawa on gas going around to do estimates versus how much you're making. Look at your estimates that you give out to clients versus how much you actually charge at the end
Right.
versus how much the job is costing you. Look at how much you're paying for labor. Find any starting point that you haven't looked at in a long time. Just that's the first thing to do. What have I not looked at in my finances? Is it my bills? Is it my bank statement? Is it my payroll? Is it find something that you haven't looked at and just look at it, and then follow the path, follow the breadcrumbs. You do that little by little, the pieces of the puzzle will come together, and the business owner will eventually, hopefully, get a sense of appreciation
Right.
for the fact that this is something that has to be embedded into their daily routine.
Right.
A business owner, really, when I work with a business owner, when I work with a client that's working in his business, and we try to get him, quote unquote, to be working on his business, being a business owner instead of an employee, one of the main objectives that we look at, my definition of success, is that he or she gets to the point where eventually, maybe in a year, maybe in 6 months, they get to the point where they're managing their business. Meaning what? Every morning they spend an hour or 2 or 10 minutes looking at numbers.
Yeah, no, 100%. Looking at what the outcome is, right? They're focusing on the wrong thing. They're focusing on all the fears, I guess, right? And then instead of focusing on what it's really benefit, who it's benefiting, what the systems they have in place are benefiting their client, right?
Yeah, can I tell you one quick thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
To end this point, and I'll give you a very, very simple, 100% truthful, real example. I had a client 3 years ago, right, in Coopersburg. I was working with Mo. Listen, I need to sit with you. Why? Because I need to strategically think about how to save money in my operational costs. Right, very big words that we use when we're sitting at Panera. I sat with him, and I sat with his daughter and his wife. We started looking at numbers strategically, holistically, big, high level. In a few weeks, I saved him $7,000 a month by simply doing 2 or 3 things. One, he was charging everything on 2 Amex cards, American Express cards, that had an APR of 29% and 33%. He had 4 storage units
Right.
that he was using, each one at a 30% capacity. Our strategic solution, we refinanced with a Univest bank loan at 7%, right? All the money that he had on the credit cards.
Right.
We cut down the storage units. Do you see what I mean? The answer was right in front of him, right in front of him. But he was so distracted because he never looked at his statements and looked at where his money's going. It's that simple. Take the time to look at your bills and look at where your money's going.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Just take your time.
That's
It's a business that we're hoping it's a business for life, right? And people want to rush through it. Just take your time like that. Everyone will stumble and fall in the beginning, but they'll work it out and they'll learn from their mistakes.
100%.
That's what we're supposed to learn from our mistakes, right? So networking, I want to talk about networking. What makes networking? I know that you like to network. I know that you like to connect and even collaborate with other people. So recently you've been collaborating with someone, bringing a powerful program that you presented, so what makes networking powerful to you? I see a lot of people doing networking, and some of them are I feel like they're doing it the wrong way. There's a lot of desperation going on. What would you say that will make networking powerful? Like, what is the purpose of networking that everyone can grow with? Do you
Let me
understand?
tell you what I do. Let me give you an
Mm-hmm.
example. There's nothing more accurate than what I do myself, more honest than what I do myself.
Mm-hmm.
I try to spend every minute of my day doing
Mm-hmm.
something that translates into a result, right?
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
with that said, when I go out to network somewhere, I
Right.
want to not make sure, but at least go with the intention that the objective that I know where I'm going to network is going to give me something in return. What is
Right.
that thing? So I go back to what I want to do. I
Mm-hmm.
want to increase my customer base, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I try to find the strategic partners, or you can call them power partners, call them whatever you want, right?
Right.
I try to
Mm-hmm.
find those individuals that when I meet with them, we can try to find a mutual benefit, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we work together, that there will be a mutual benefit that we will both reap. And there's something that I actually even call extreme networking, which is I go as far as networking with my indirect competition. And I talked about this in that workshop that you're referring to that I did on the 14th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Mm-hmm.
was I want to find customers and I work with my clients on stress, right? So, one of the things that my clients come to me is that they're so stressed at work that they need somebody to help them. Well, some clients that are stressed also work with a life coach, meaning
Mm-hmm.
my client that comes to me, right, to work with me on stress could very easily go to work with a life coach. The life
Mm-hmm.
coach is not a business coach, so he's not a direct competitor, but
Right.
he's
Right.
indirect. So we share the same client, he solves the same problem in a different way. That's what indirect competition is. You can look at it
Right.
as a substitute. So what
Mm-hmm.
I do is exactly what I did in my workshop. I found a life coach that solves the same problem that I have in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
and I partnered with him so that we combine our clients or our prospects together to offer solutions via the offerings that we have. So
Right.
now I know when I do something like that, it's benefiting him and it's benefiting me.
Right.
I don't go to network with somebody that's going to do me a favor or vice versa. It
Right.
has to we have to find that intersection where the person I'm going to shake hands with or exchange business cards, there's a short-term or long-term benefit to both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. Let me quickly ask you. I'm gonna reroute a little bit on AI. So I know we're seeing an AI boom everywhere right now. It's
Mhm,
even on our text. Like you can change it to an AI. So we're almost losing all of our power of who our identity is. And something is
mhm.
it's like the movie Mimic, right? It's mimicking who
Yep.
we are.
Mhm,
How would you say it can affect maybe even you and your business that you're
mhm.
in right now as a coach, right? How would you say that it might affect in the future, or is it affecting currently right now with your business right now?
100%. 100%. It's affecting every business. AI today is like Netscape when it came out in 1995, when the
Oh,
internet first came out in 1995, right?
right,
I mean,
right.
everybody back then, back in the 80s, when the fax machine came out, we thought that was the end of technology. It was voodoo
Mhm,
magic that you put a paper in and it comes out on another side, right, of the
right.
world.
Hmm.
When the internet came and email came, it was a paradigm shift in the way that we did everything. Some people resisted it, some people embraced it, some people saw where it could take us, right? Just like when the iPhone was developed, when Steve Jobs saw that there's something called Wi Fi, and within a year he knocked BlackBerry out of the market
Right.
because he saw what he can use it for. We're experiencing the same thing right now. There's AI, there's people that are embracing and using it. There are people that are looking at it and seeing how they can knock out their competition, short term or long term. And there are people that are resisting or accepting. Okay, I really think, at least in my case, I am embracing it, not as a competition, not as a replacement for me, because I believe, at least in my business, that relational aspect of
Mm-hmm.
my business with clients
Right.
will take some time to be replaced by an AI,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
right? So I try to utilize it in the sense of analyzing the information that I have. I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking the time to learn new prompts and questions to ask AI so that I can get better results from the data that I have. Meaning, I think any business owner that appreciates the analytical aspect of AI, meaning the story that AI can help us tell with from our data that we feed it, that will create a competitive advantage for us against our competition. So I really say there is no point. It's kind of like the people that waited 15 years to get a cell phone because they just wanted to make a statement. There's no point of fighting it, right? Accept it, embrace it, appreciate the value it can give to your business and use it.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. I'm feeling the same, as you, because finance is like people are going on and just entering numbers, and
Mhm.
it's cutting out the middleman. But then when they have a problem, they have no one to connect to because there was never anyone there, right?
Exactly.
Because what
Exactly.
I create that warm space where, yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. So all of you out there listening, if you need someone to guide you in finance, contact me. If I can't offer the service, believe me, I'll find you the right person that can. And I'll do it from an emotional aspect. But yeah, I feel like people are always looking for their information fast, and that's not the best way. You need to, with you, I would rather speak with a real person because you can
Mhm.
connect,
Mhm.
and have that emotional connection where that someone, doesn't matter what level they might be on, they're going to come down and meet you at your level, and it's real, it's authentic, it's tangible.
100%, 100%. And you know what? Not to put it back on you, Jeannie, but in the
Yeah.
same sense that you said we meet every week, I
Mhm.
listen to your talks and your commercials, and
Mhm.
I I wonder sometimes how people, I don't want to say fear, but how do they not comprehend and appreciate the unknown, the factor of the unknown in their future, right?
Yeah.
AI can't do anything with that. If anything, I would use AI to magnify and clarify
Mhm.
the magnitude of the unknowns that can happen to a family or an
Mhm.
individual, right? I mean, because when you talk, I literally, like mentally, I think the only person that wouldn't need you is somebody that can look in their Google calendar
Mhm.
and see pretty much all the bad things that can happen to them laid out in their calendar, which is nobody. No one knows when something is going to happen to them that's going to disrupt. So, to your point,
Yeah.
those are the relational values that you can't get from a computer. At
Mhm.
least not yet.
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%. It's I do what I do because I know what loss feels like, and I
Mhm.
know, I was a single mom.
I
So
hear you. I
I
hear you.
know a lot of things that happen. Unfortunately, I didn't have the right guidance and education
Mhm.
financially.
Mhm.
I don't regret a lot of the things I did, but remember that a lot of the consequences that we're facing now are because of decisions we made in our past. But if I would have had someone to guide me
Mhm.
financially, my decisions would have been a lot different,
Uh,
right? So that's
yeah.
pretty much what I try to do. I try to make myself accessible so I can educate families and individuals and teenagers now, because the school system is 100% broken. And you're going to hear me say that a gazillion times because it's
No,
insane.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, some people, and they were fortunate that they didn't have the challenges you had in your upbringing and in your earlier years, but
Mhm,
that gives them a false sense of security that when something, comes at them that they haven't planned for or they didn't plan for, it
mhm.
changes their lives.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
definitely.
the education that's needed.
Yeah. So Mo, what is one message that you will want every entrepreneur listening today to
Mhm.
take home with them? What is one message that if you can give one advice
Mhm.
to a room full of entrepreneurs, what would that be?
Don't give in to doubt. Realize your full potential. Put yourself in a positive environment. Know your fears, what triggers your fears and your limitations. Don't necessarily overcome them, but know how to manage them and control them so that you know what motivates you, what limits you, what inspires you, and what will help you, what ammunition you have internally and externally around you that you can use to your or put at your disposal to achieve your vision and your dream.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how can people connect with you for coaching, leadership training, anything that they have to develop? How can they connect with you? Where can they find you? And do you have any events coming up that we can plug in right now for you?
Yes, easiest, fastest way, reach me on my cell phone, 484-554-7415. Again, it's 484-554-7415. Just call me or text me anytime. And I don't know if you could post maybe my email address later, Jeannie, or do you want to
Yes,
give it?
you can give it now, and I'll post it also.
Okay, so it is my last name, ELHUSSINIM at thegrowthcoach.com.
Okay. Well, Mo, thank you so much for
You are
sharing
very welcome.
wisdom.
And I do have, I'm sorry, just to answer your last
Yes,
question, I know it's a short notice. I do
no,
have an event coming up in 2 days, actually, at 9 a.m. At Pepe's, where we meet. We're going to be talking about business growth and managing people. But I will definitely let you know when something else comes up in the near future so that we can share it with your audience.
And what date is this? You said this is in
It's on the
Pepe.
5th. Yes, at Pepe's Latino Bistro at 9 a.m.
Okay, and that's on the 5th.
Yes, it's
Okay.
going to be from 9 to 11.
Okay, great, great. So I'm sure people will reach out to you so that they can get more information on that. But yeah, once again, Mo, thank you so much for
You are
sharing
very welcome, Jeannie. Thank you.
your heart and your expertise, right, to our
Thank you.
community today. Everything you said definitely aligns with the values of Latin Nexus. And to our listeners, just remember, growth doesn't happen by accident. Financial freedom doesn't happen by luck, right? So success comes from intention, action, and the community. So I want to thank you for being here today.
You're very welcome.
Before we close, I just want to let everyone know, right? If this episode inspired you to want more, to grow and develop, if you learned something, if it made you feel like you can do it, right? I ask you to please share this episode with one person today. This is Latin Nexus Networking, right? And we are on the PA Empowerment Network, where it grows. And it's all with you. It's all with our community and your help, right? So please help and support our mission. Follow us. Please subscribe to the page. And it's the PA Empowerment Network and Latin Nexus. And share this episode on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever your platform of preference may be, right? And always remember to hashtag. Hashtags are very important. So hashtag us, hashtag Jeannie, hashtag Kendall. Hashtag us so that we can get out and touch more entrepreneurs, reach out to more. Remember, it's with your help that we can develop and grow. So I want to thank you. This is Jeannie, your financial coach and the founder of Latin Nexus. And I hope to see you next week, Wednesday, and I'll have another speaker, all right? So thank you so much for plugging in, and I hope to see one of you in the hot seat soon. Okay, bye.